Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are live with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have with us Jim Monk. Jim is the president of Closets, which is a leading manufacturer and installer of closet systems specifically designed for the multifamily industry. He is also a passive investor, and he hails from Dallas, Texas. Jim, thank you so much for hopping on the show today. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
Doing good. As I sip my Starbucks coffee there, it is.
You like you're doing better than me.
There you go. Awesome. Well, Jim, we always start with stories. That's our big starter off here. So why don't you go back to the beginning? How'd you get started in real estate?
Well, I come from College Station, Texas, so it's a college town, home of Texas A&M University. And being like most individuals around there are a tremendous amount of duplexes, apartment complexes of all sorts. And I was renting from a guy, a local doctor. And I remember him telling me, because he would come by and collect the checks from us literally every month. He was retired. And
I can imagine him like getting off of his doctor practice and then going door to door collecting checks.
He was out of a very large Mercedes. So I always remember this. I was impressionable at the time. I was like, wow, okay. Very nice man. And he owned about 300 units, he told us, in total. Small complexes, 30 to 50 units. And so he had a couple of these around town. And as he talked, he said to me, if I give you one piece of advice, don't do what I did and go into 8 to 10 years worth of medical education and all this, get into real estate. And so that always stuck with me. And so as I got older and out of college and married and all this, it became very apparent that, look, real estate's one of those big pieces of should be a big piece of your portfolio. And how can I get into it? And so starting off with, a couple duplexes, something small. And then about 5 years ago, really made the leap as a friend of mine was pretty well known in the multifamily space to go out there and start investing in some of the larger multifamily sets. So for us, the very first one we took down was 380 units. So it was pretty large.
Wow, nice.
380 units, C-class property. So started diving into that a little bit more, and ran into some challenges. You realize quickly that maybe you should know a little bit more due diligence. Maybe you should learn more of the backstory. There's just a lot of things going on. And so, and we can talk a little bit about those stories a little bit more if you like, as it relates to some of the pitfalls. That's one of the things I learned it's different when you're talking duplexes, quads, and so forth. And then you jump up to something like that, where you have maintenance crews, you've got a lot of issues. Probably the biggest one we had is in the first 2 months, someone was killed on premise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that one was one that threw us off. Yeah. So having to deal with the liability issues, the risk involvement, upgrading the facility, make sure that we had proper fencing, cameras, making sure that we're doing lighting, making sure we're doing more due diligence as we go through to bring on new renters or residents, making sure that we were creating a resident center where people could actually talk and communicate and tell us what was going on. So we found ourselves going from more of a passive, hey, this is an investment. I think that's what we typically look at and what our returns are and everything, to we're going to have to engage the community. We're going to be more involved in this scenario here if we want this to be a success, but also we need to make a positive impact. That's one of the things that the partners and I sat down with was we need to be making a positive impact on the groups here, the families here. And I would have said early on that was not the original plan, but that plan changed, and we've been better for it now. Post COVID, our numbers stayed high as far as our retention. So we've been very high, 91, 92%. So we've been collecting really well on our rents. We, again, as a passive investor, I'm not involved in the day-to-days, but I'm looking at those numbers, and it's more of a gym now of what we thought it was. We've invested more into upgrading the property and renovating it out and so forth. So, probably built in the 70s, so it needed some TLC.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, a lot of questions popped out to me when you were talking there. The first one is, we repeat this so many times on this show that due diligence when it comes to, well, any property really, but especially large multifamily. I do mobile home and RV parks. And so anything that is larger, the due diligence is really where you need to put more time than you think, because that is where you really solidify the fact that it is a deal and it's not going to completely crush you. Going back to this property that you're talking about, what in the due diligence period do you think would have kind of, did you guys overlook or kind of pass over to that would have kind of given you light to the fact that these issues were going to arise?
So I'm going to speak to this in my own terms as it relates to, I think we were a little bit arrogant with our experience, and kind of coming in and saying, okay,
I would not hold that over you. It's when you're doing deals and you're seeing results, it's easy to kind of get inflated. So that's, I feel like
exactly right. So I think there's a little bit of an arrogance that we had that, look, we were able to do this. We have a history. This is just another tombstone. We're going to take it down and roll with it. I think that was the very first thing. I think the next thing was the story of why the ownership was looking to exit the property. That I think there would have been better if we'd done more digging. We would have seen that there were a number of phantom leases. That was one of the things that came out, or rentals there. So there were more vacancies than what we had anticipated. So that was probably one of the areas we could have done some more due diligence on. I think working closely with the city and understanding some of the more around what the criminal activity was there, or were there challenges, that would have been one of the very first things I'd say that we would do and now do moving forward is let's talk about what that, activity is for crime, drugs, any of that. If you're talking different classes, actually any class of property, I think you should be doing that, and that probably would have been something we should have done more sooner than after the fact. Because when we started sitting down with the police and talking to the city more, we quickly found out, well, this has been a problem area and we're not surprised.
Yep, absolutely. That's actually one of the line items on our due diligence is to call the local police station and just ask them, we're buying a property in this location. What do you guys think of it? What are the general calls that you get in that area? What do you think of the park itself? All that stuff. Really good things can come when you start engaging the local municipality, the city, the police station, all that stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so you did that. You bought the property. You guys ran into these issues. What were the things that you kind of did to overcome them? So it sounds like you bought a property that was in an area that had higher crime rate than you had expected.
Correct.
And so you needed to mitigate that. You needed to address that issue, make it more of a safe environment. What were the steps that you guys took in order to get to the end zone there?
Well, one of the things we worked with closely was our insurance company. So they were very good about saying, look, we need to mitigate risk and so forth. How can we do that? So we brought in some experts as it related to, we need proper fencing, we need proper gating, something that wasn't there before. Now, these are obviously expenses that we weren't accounting for, but considering the situation and what the operational costs would be in the future, these were very big value adds. From our point of view, towards lowering our insurance costs and some other things. So there are benefits to this, but coming in with proper lighting. So we met with lighting, people, local contractors to say, look, how do we illuminate the area much better, much brighter without it being just annoying to the residents? We then came in, security cameras were another thing we added. And when you look at the cost, the bigger one was the fencing, but the others made such a big difference as well. And talking to the groups. The other thing that we did was we sat down with the residents and said, look, I know that you guys are living here. This is where you spend your time and your families and your kids and so forth. What are the things that we can be doing as it relates? And so we really had an open door forum where people were coming in almost like a crime watch group. They'd say, look, some of these people are volunteers. Some have been there 20 years at this property. And so they were like, look, I want to see it be a better place. And we're all about that. And so how can we equip you? And so it was providing phone numbers so they had easy access to management if they're not on property. It was doing things like food drives. So we do food drives or different things in the community there that just brought it together more as a community so that they could feel safe. They could talk amongst themselves more, because we do get siloed sometimes. Many times we don't even know who our neighbors are. And so that was one of the things we were trying to bring together with the residents, was more of a sense of community. Through all of those actions, I would say, and some of them are nominal in cost, it's been able to, we've had better rents, we've had increased retention, we've had better, feedback as it relates to our residents.
Yep. No, I love that. And I like the fact that you guys brought in an outside consultant to kind of give you guidance, because so many times if you're taking down a property, especially in an asset class that you're not familiar with, you're going to run into things that are not, you just don't know. There's, for instance, for me, when I first got into septic tanks, there's a lot of septic tanks on mobile home parks. I had no idea what a septic tank was. Well, I knew what it was, but I didn't know, how to deal with it. I didn't know how to do the due diligence around it. And so I started talking with people who were experts at it, just like you guys brought in a security consultant. You talked with them in order to understand how to create a safe environment for your residents on the property. And I also really like that you engaged the residents. You created that sense of community, which by itself is going to kind of create an atmosphere of security, of more of a homey place to live. Awesome. So I'm going to move us on just a little bit, because unfortunately this is a 15-20 minute podcast. I loved what you said so far, but I want to talk a little bit about closets, because you've done investing. You're a passive investor, LP. You also are the president of Closets, and you guys specifically manufacture closet space for multifamily residents. That's very specific. And so why is it specifically multifamily?
So myself and my business partner, we're always trying to look at ways that we can, move the needle, as I like to call it. So for us, a lot of the properties we dealt with, both internally and just through people we knew, we've done all the hard surfaces, we've done all the flooring, we've done all the upgrades we can do. And so the question is, how can I bump my rents, without just saying, I'm going to just bump the rents? How can I get more NOI and so forth? So one of the things that we started looking at was, he came out of the renovation space. He ran a company called United Renovations, which is now part of Katerra. It was acquired a couple of years ago, big company, $5.5 billion company. And so Stephen did the largest amount of renovations throughout the country, had the largest renovations company for multifamily. So as we started talking, I said, what is the one area that has not been touched in the apartment? And very quickly he came back and said, the closet. So I went through a due diligence process for a year, figuring out, okay, let me install some closet systems in. Let me see if I can get a rent increase between 3 and 5%, strong ROI. And I was able to do that both in B and A class property sets. So we come in now as a solution. We do typically rip out and replace, and a new construction we do some, but particularly rip out and replace, wire shelving and so forth. I usually have an example of it around, but we put what you see behind me in within a couple hours on the make ready or turn.
Oh, wow.
And the reason being is it can support a rent increase. And part of that is because today's marketplace, the boomers and the millennials are looking for resort type of amenities. They're in that space, they're shelter in place in many cases, and they're looking for something that's nicer. Plus, with today's marketplace, there's so many, there's the Kardashians, there's people out there talking about closet systems, and people say, look, I'm going to rent. I want something like Kim has. And what we really did was really figure out the numbers. And so the business case is what you see behind me typically goes for sub $1,000 installed.
Wow. Yeah.
So we do both installation, full turnkey, or we will ship the product with the designs to the client. And we will, help assist them as they get their maintenance teams or trim carpenters to install this. So it's a minor upgrade that can be done very quickly and present well to the client, and the residents are willing to pay for it. So post-COVID, our average client sees between a $35 and $40 rent increase per month nationwide.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Average.
Especially when you're talking about a sub $1,000 improvement there. That's
Correct.
a great ROI for sure.
Correct.
Actually, you can't see behind me because I got this green screen thing, but I'm in a flip right now, and there is a closet. It's a 1925, like it was built in 1925, and it's a duplex, and it's got this weird like additional closet space, completely empty. It's just very weird, but that's something that I would definitely install in this place. So that's cool. I like it.
And so one of the things that we're doing, and I don't mind if you have the moment here, I'd tell you that we're getting ready to launch a financing arm to this for 48 months to 60 months at a 3% interest rate, just because we're so passionate about it and believe it, that we have clients today, we have case studies today where they'll spend as much as a couple $100,000 on large complex, and they'll see an asset value increase of about $3 to $4 million in many cases.
Oh, wow.
So it's huge returns.
And do you guys is there a footprint that is specific that you guys don't go under or over, or how big does the closet space have to be?
So for us, we're open to it because a lot of our clients, our system it's a system. So it's almost like Lego blocks or Tetris. We design it out according to the space because so many apartment complexes have so many, even duplexes and homes, they're just so different, as you know. And so our system is designed that way. We design it free of charge. And, basically we're about manufacturing the product. And what we're dealing with is a 3/4 inch plywood product, which I'm sure you can appreciate because we want something that's going to be durable and long lasting.
Yep. It's going to stay there for the while. I love it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, hey, we hit the mark. I got to push us into the quick question round. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. It starts with, what does it start with? I lost my list here. There we go. So your habits. We're going into habits. What is the habit that you feel contributes the most to your success today?
I'm going to say planning. I do daily planning, weekly planning. So planning is the very first thing I would say and I work a plan. So if you're not working a plan, you're planning to fail. So for me and every company I've been involved in, planning. And that means, it means yearly, backing into quarterly, backing into weekly, backing into dailies. Now you have fire drills and so forth, but like today, it could be as simple as literally scratch paper with stuff on it, but there's a plan by which I'm working, and that way I know and I can measure. So I'm always that and measuring what was I able to accomplish today, a week, a month, a quarter, and so on, and working that back into the plan that I originally created for myself and my team.
And in real estate, it is so easy to get caught in those fire drills because they happen all the time. So I love that you said planning. That is definitely a habit that all of us, I feel, contributes a lot to all of us. Moving on, and I'm a big bookie, so I always ask book recommendations. What is your 2 book recommendations? One for real estate and one for general life wisdom.
So I think that we could all use better on the real estate finance. And so there's one called Real Estate Finance and Investment through Chegg, I believe it is, on the college level. So I think there's a lot of great books out there, but I wanted to go to the academic level and understand the detail, which brings me to the next. It's called literally Real Estate Finance and Investments.
Very, very academic title.
Very, yeah. No, there's no imagination in that deal. No. The other one is Money Mastering the Game by Tony Robbins.
Oh, yeah.
And I think people in general need to know how to invest and to understand how things work. And his premise was, if I had no money, but all the knowledge, how would I pass it on to my kids to be successful?
Ooh,
and so he goes and interviews billionaires, hedge fund managers, and so forth, and says, give me your knowledge. If I had no money, how would you get here?
Yep.
And it's very interesting. It actually changed my strategy of investment. And honestly, it post-COVID, even it's worked out very well for me on the returns.
Awesome. I love it. I've, so many people have recommended Tony Robbins stuff, and I'm a huge kind of self-development junkie. I've read all the books, but I haven't picked up Tony's book. I don't know what the deal is. I gotta get on that. Maybe Money will be my first one.
It's an audio. You can get it on Audible as well.
Oof. Speaking my language. I love it. All right, moving on. So if you could go back to the Jim who was, how did your story start out? So who had just met that doctor who, just saw him drive up in his Mercedes, you asked him, he told you real estate's the thing to do. If you could go back to that Jim, look him in the eye and give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Give the doctor the piece of, or Jim. Okay.
No,
I would say understanding finance better. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many ways to structure deals and deal flow, and understanding how the money, who are institutional investors or who are banks I should be working with. I didn't really have that knowledge until I cut my teeth on some deals, and realizing as you get further into it, you're like, boy, that was a terrible deal. I thought it was a great deal. That was a terrible deal. Or it could have been better, or I could have gotten more return out of it. And so that's the one thing I would say is understand the landscape. Understanding how finance works, how the money works within real estate, and then trying to work with companies that align well to that.
I love that. That is a great piece of advice. Especially the big eye opener for me was understanding seller financing. Once you can figure out how to get a seller to finance a property, man, it really does open doors. It's great stuff. All right, so moving on. Let's see. Sorry, I'm lost I got this sheet of paper and I should really just have it placed up on the wall, but I never do. All right, so this is an opportunity for you to flex and brag a little bit. What is your Superman strength? What are you absolutely excellent at?
So talking to my team and teams, I've worked with a number of companies, building great teams. I have amazing people, Gabe. I can brag on them all day long. They're just amazing. They're good people. It's our corporate culture. And this is with any of the companies I've been involved in. They've all been great people. And it's a testament to them, not so much me, but finding those great people in those gyms and then helping build them up. So if I have a super ability, it's putting together great teams and then letting them do their job. And that's why Closets is doing so well. It's because they're the ones out there, warriors, as I like to call it, out there fighting the daily battles. And they do a phenomenal job.
Yep. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what is one tip that you would give to somebody who's looking to build their team?
To build their team? So one of the ones I would say that I do is listen to your intuition. If you have a strong intuition, I think that the other thing would be personality profiling. So taking personality profile test to figure out who you are as a leader or an individual, and then what's going to work well with you. So for myself, I know going through DISC assessment, or you have a bunch of Myers-Briggs and all these other different group testing, figuring out who you are, and then finding the right people that can complement you on that.
Yep.
And getting them on board. And then the one other piece of advice: integrity is key. Without integrity, none of it matters. They could be the best person in the world, but if their integrity is in question, I wouldn't even take them. Not one time.
I love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, hey, Jim, sorry. Jim is using his coworker's Zoom. So it says Gregory on there. So I keep wanting to say Greg. Jim,
I get it.
We're on to the last question. Thank you for hopping on the show.
Absolutely. Gabe, it's been a pleasure. Really, really a pleasure.
And the last question is for the listeners, because you've given us so much wisdom that we can gnaw on when it comes to real estate. How can people reach out to you and get in contact?
So they can reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'm a huge active person on LinkedIn, Jim Monk. They can go to our website, www.clozzits.com, and reach out. And if they want to specifically speak to me, they can do so. Just put it in the chat and it'll get to me. And if there are entrepreneurs or other individuals that want to reach out just to talk about entrepreneurship, I'm a big believer in pouring in others. So more the merrier.
Perfect. And for everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason that we do this. So we appreciate having you here. Again, the best way to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends and family. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, an even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.